is a world-renowned biomechanics expert. At that time, Dragan used to work with Microsoft Development Center here in Serbia on testing Asia Connect cameras for biomedical research. So his recommendation was pretty straightforward. Go with depth imaging. And that's how we've started. We made the proof of concept in a matter of months using Asia Connect camera. But then life happened. We made a small break. But since a year ago, we are back stronger than ever. OK, so what's the problem that we are trying to take care of? Clinicians lack objective, scalable tools. Many patients skip scans because of duration exposure just for diagnostics. And the imaging, as I already said, adds cluster complexity. So a pretty much correct number in terms of how much MSK disorders contribute to annual healthcare costs in US is around 400 billion. So this is the why. And here's the what. Clavius platform captures a quick 3D depth scan of the patient's back using off-the-shelf sensors. In this case, we utilize Asia Connect camera, but we are also working with Arbek cameras, Asia Connect successor. Then our algorithmic bundle, which includes state-of-the-art AI, produces transparent, reproducible alignment metrics as an explainable report in minutes. There is no special imaging suite, no radiation. We get clinical-grade repeatability. It's built for where care actually happens: physical therapy, chiropractic, and sports medicine clinics. This is the aha moment, both for the practitioner, clinician, and the patient. Seeing clear visual overlays and trendable numbers, suddenly posture is not an argument, it's data. Patients get it too. Transparent visuals drive adherence. If you can show improvement, they'll do the work. A bit of market overview. I'll just touch on a few numbers. So let's put the vision first. Posture becomes a routine metric, like blood pressure, for every outpatient MSK visit and employer wellness program. I will end one number. If you take into account that there are around 108,000 outpatient clinics in US. Oh, there's an issue with mic. Oh, really? OK. I hope I was loud enough for everybody to hear. OK. So now I feel a necessity to sing a bit, but I'll try to spare you. OK. So in US, 108,000 outpatient clinics across physical therapy practices, chiropractic, and sports medicine. If you take a pricing assumption of $5K for the initial setup and $1,500 per month per seat, with average of 1.5 seats per clinic, you come to the number of around $3 billion for total accessible market. Globally, situation looks even more promising. If you include outpatient clinics in OECD markets plus a slice of hospitals, then you're going to be at 9 to 11 billion a year, potentially. The real unlock is standardization, a reproducible, radiation-free alignment measure any clinic can run day one. We are also seeing strong tailwinds, forces in the market that make what we're building not just possible, but inevitable. First, healthcare is shifting hard toward preventive and non-invasive solutions. Second, computer vision and explainable AI have matured to the point where this can run in a regular clinic, not a research lab. And third, employers and insurers are desperate for objective data in musculoskeletal care. Posture and spine metrics are the missing piece. So we basically have 4 buckets today. Subjective exams with high variance, no baseline. Then we have imaging, which is precise but includes radiation and is costly. And there are consumer apps or wearables with wellness-grade accuracy, but no clinical adoption. And there are also niche lab rigs, accurate but expensive and stuck in motion labs. Clavius is the missing middle. We provide clinic-grade objectivity without radiation, without specialized rooms or technicians. Why we win? We win on 3 axes. Reproducibility, track changes, not opinions. Regulatory credibility. We began with CDS framing on the road to 510K for the US market. And integration, smart on fire and EHR exports to kill adoption friction. We start where adoption is fast and regulation is lighter. Physical therapy groups and sports chiropractic clinics. The plan is to have 2 to 3 lighthouse pilots, publish workflow time savings plus engagement, then expand with multi-site groups, then open health systems and pair those with outcomes. That is set up reimbursement adoption. To scale, just a second. Okay. So to scale, we build multiple layers. Direct sales to clinics, employer partnership via occupational health, and health system pilots to signal traction. Friction removal matters. That's why we have Smart on Fire from the very beginning and ability for EHR experts, which make adoption seamless. Every pilot becomes a reference site. We train our models on annotated depth data to detect anatomical landmarks and compute transparent alignment metrics. We stick to 2 principles: explainability, which overlays clinicians, with overlays that clinicians can trust, and repeatability. Same patient, same pose, same numbers. That's what turns a scan into a clinical signal. This is the whole bundle. We use off-the-shelf hardware, which is practically a commodity. It's roughly $500 for the camera, even less with Orbit cameras, around $1,000 for a decent laptop, and around $100 for a tripod. This means scale. There are no exotic rigs, no specialized technicians. Workflow is that simple: a depth camera on a stand, a standard PC, and a 2 to 5 minute capture. The system auto-detects key landmarks and outputs a clear report. We are framed as clinical decision support CDS to reach clinics earlier while aligning to a 510K regulatory path. Validation focuses on reproducibility, interoperator reliability, and clinical correlation to imaging standards. We have a dual-track build. We build real-world evidence while generating early ARR through clinical reports. This is the core assumption for the revenue model. It's simple and recurring. $5K for the setup per unit and $1,500 per month per user. For high-throughput clinics, we offer per capture pricing. And this is a roadmap. This is the roadmap for US. I have to say that we operate as Clavius in US, but we also operate as Medilogic AI here in Europe. We currently have a rollout that is released in 10 clinics in Sweden. So that's happening at the moment we speak. UX expansion is going to happen through the Houston network. We pursue 510K to unlock larger systems and reimbursement. Each milestone compounds credibility, data, and revenue. And this is us. Rishi Shah is a guy who is Sasha's friend. He joined us like a few months ago. He's our business head. Sasha Popovic is a guy with a motivation based on his own personal issues, but he's also a product designer with a huge experience in US market. And I'm just an engineer being happy to be stuck with these two guys. This is what we're doing currently in US. At the moment, we have friends and family round happening, and we will pursue a seed round for the first quarter of 2026. But more than funding, this is an invitation to pilots, partners, and investors who want to make radiation-free objective spinal diagnostics standards of care. Thank you. And I think we have a small promotional movie. Yeah, there it is. It's not going to take you more than 2 minutes. I hope I didn't push too much, right? Okay.
Without the risks of traditional X-ray imaging.
Thank you.
Today, we will demonstrate how this innovative machine vision-based technology helps detect postural anomalies such as scoliosis, kyphosis, and lordosis. Before we explain the screening steps, let's go through a few checklist items. Make sure the screening areas is at least 4 by 3 meters open and clear of objects. Floors and walls should not be made of reflective materials as shiny tiles or glass windows, mirrors, etc. For successful screening, subject should wear underwear only or tight activewear. Covering of the back and hips is not suggested. Tight sports bra is fine, though completely open back area is preferred. Make sure hips are visible during screening. If needed, subject should slightly pull down the clothing to reveal the hips. Long hair should be tied up in a bun and removed from neck and back. First, we ensure that the child is properly positioned, standing with their back turned to the camera approximately 1.5 meters away. This setup allows our system to capture crucial data about their posture. First, we capture their posture while they are standing vertically, and in the second screening the subject is bending forward. It is imperative that a subject is standing still for the whole duration of the screening, which lasts for up to 5 seconds. Our advanced computer vision algorithms analyze their posture in real time. Utilizing deep learning techniques, we assess key indicators like shoulder height, pelvic alignment, and spinal curvature. The system identifies any deviations from normal posture and flags potential issues for further evaluation. Step 1 of the screening. Subject is standing facing away from the camera. Step 2. Subject is slightly bent forward, exposing the spinal curvature. Operator should make sure to follow the positioning indicator in order to perform the screening properly. After successful data processing, the screening report will appear on the computer screen. Report data has been enriched with AI's large language model that has been trained on orthopedic and physician body of knowledge. As an operator or a clinician, you can easily and efficiently search for a specific client and their reports to preview and compare results. Clients can also use our protected portal to access their own reports and analyze it at their own convenience.
Thank you, Igor, so much for the wonderful presentation. And before we go on further, I just want to ask you to keep your questions for our startups after the presentations, and then you can approach and see how they are working really and test their solutions. Now, I would like to call Mr. Mladen Dumanovic from Comdata to present their product. Mr. Dumanovic, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. My mic is more than good, so I... Okay, so I would first like to thank to all of you and to expose my gratitude for inviting us here. Good afternoon to everyone, and thank you for joining us at this session of about innovative AI solutions intended for clinical trials industry. My name is Mladen Dumanovic, and I'm here with 2 of my colleagues who worked hard for the last previous 16 months together with consultants from clinical trials industry. Their names are Stefan Miljevic, our AI software developer, and after me, Mr. Petar Mihajlovic, our AI software architect, will join me here on the floor to further explain you what we have achieved here. I would like to take opportunity to tell you about something about our company. So we are not startup in the moment. We are, as you can see, a company that works more than 33 years in software development with more than 130 software developers for different markets, for different industries. So we achieved and gained large experience in different business domains. And for me, this is not only because I'm interested in ISO standards, but one of the things that I will give further explanations are our ISO standards and security of your data. And I can tell you that after 16 months of the developments, we are now at stage that we will try to go to off-spin our AI project and bring it to life. Its name is AIZ. So from A to Z, it is designed and as a set of modular, as a suite of modular tools that will make your life easier if you are in a clinical trials industry. So what was the main idea of this product? I should tell you one thing later. Yes? We will be there, Stefan, Petar, and me will be there, so you can try our product just after the all presentations are done. What AIZ is doing? It is a clinical trial suite that maybe it's better to be here. Maybe most important thing for us telling you now is that our AI solution is not intended, and it is a good news, not intended to replace you. We built it to help you. So I think that after you try it, a year later, you will it will be like riding a bike, and you will think, oh, what was the time when I wasn't used it? We hope that you will forget on that painful approach and searching through different databases in order to find the data that confirms or denies facts about your clinical trial. It is at this point made of 4 different tools, but is intended for expansion. It is feasibility and eligibility processes tool, text redaction tool, and a clinical data validation tool. Sorry. And the most important thing of all, and the reason that we spent more than 16 months working on it is that we built it to be your and only yours AI solution. So it won't be somewhere in the cloud and your data that you upload to help you with dealing with clinical trials documentations. Will be only on your computers and on your servers. This is more important thing for you that you need to know. And because of that, we built strong infrastructure and a strong architecture that can Petar explain you more about it a little later. But this is for me maybe the most important thing in what you should bring with you from today. So what it does, it is safe and it is intended to help you, not to replace you. So what are the issues that we resolve with this tool? You know better than I am how, if you are in clinical trials industry, how painful and how speed and accurate those documentation and all process should be, because we are dealing with big money, with big interests, with big issues concerning the health and well-being of our patients, and also it is important considering the security of data about personal data of patients involved in clinical trials, as well as molecule structure or different drugs that are introduced. So we handled all these things in order to make clinical trials documentation preparation better and faster. We made it in that way so it is simple for final customer. It is integrated in Microsoft Office tools, which are always come at the end of and in all stages of process of doing things. And with this tool, you also save money because you don't need to buy different and expensive licenses for different software. So, for who is intended? Well, I was pretty amazed that 2 weeks ago, when I was speaking with some lady who is involved in clinical trials, that she said to me, "Oh, this is such a good thing. I wish I had it a year ago. It would spared me time from 3 months to 1 or 2 weeks." So, but because of, I think that the best way to see it is to see it on the work. So we will now invite our chief AI software architect, Petar Mihajlović, who will tell you something about the tool and show you the video with the explanations.
Thank you, Mladen. Can everybody hear me? Okay, we can continue. I will try to be as short as possible. I'm Petar Mihajlović. I'm a team lead of AI team in our company, and I will show you what we did in the last period regarding of the clinical trials. As you can see, it's a core modules of AIZ suite. We divided entire system into some modules. We created something that we call the AI platform that take care of everything regarding the AI stuff, and the other microservices regarding to domain logic are separate from the system. So it's easily to be ported to the client's environment. We divided it into a few the different parts: feasibility and eligibility. Feasibility, I will try to simplify problematic as much as possible. When clinical research organization need to determine which country is feasible to take a part in clinical study, then they need to create a country footprint. That is very time consuming, so we created some AI tool that can extract the information from different sources, local sources, private sources, or cloud ones, and to easily answer to some questions that need to be answered before starting the clinical trial in some countries. So feasibility determines which country is feasible for starting the trial. Eligibility module is doing the parts regarding the patients. Is the patient eligible or not eligible? Depends on the history of the patient, and depends on of course the regulations and protocols. text redactor model is used for when some documents are finished and need to be sent. Then some documents need to be redacted. For example, informant and consent, or IB, or some other documents. So EU CTR is a protocol that we need to follow, or GDPR. And patient data analyzer is used while doing the trial to validate or to analyze the data that came from the different sources. To see, it's used only for checking to help the final user to see is he done the validation good or not. Feasibility and eligibility model, we created it as a Word plugin. By efficiently reviewing protocol and regulatory requirements, it enhances the accuracy of patient selection and accelerates the feasibility assessment process. We use the Word plugin because it can, clinical research organization is using different vendors, so it can be very pricey. And nevertheless, which vendor is it using? All of that results are going to Word or Excel. So because of that, we use the Word. Patient data analyzer, I already explained, it's very time-consuming. You need to compare the information or the history of the patient with some protocols, and this tool helps you for that. With that, text redaction I already explained, so I will switch to the next one, and now we can start with a video, so I can explain how is it working. On the left side of the screen, can I stop this or not? Wait. Can you? No. What's happened now? Can you please start? Yeah, okay. This part is a video, so it creates a problem for me now. Okay. Sorry for these technical issues. Yeah. I'm a tech guy. I'm not so used to this presentation, so because of that, okay. You can see on this is a Word, online Word. You can use a desktop one or online Word. On the left side is a Word document. On the right side, we already installed our Word plugin. Can you stop it, please, for a moment, just to explain? You need to log into our system. As I said, it could be easily ported to your environment. So the data can be secured under your domain. When you log in, you will get the feasibility. You will choose, do you want to use feasibility or eligibility? Colleague choose the feasibility, and he chose Germany as a country that feasibility will be worked on. Can you please pause for a moment? Those questions are one of the examples of the actual feasibility country feasibility study, and it has 27 questions. For every single question, sometimes the researcher needs to spend for very long period of time for some question. Sometimes he needs to read PDF of 500 pages. So it's very time-consuming. For example, we can continue with the video. What are the regulatory requirements for initiating a clinical trial in this country? It's a fifth question. We started with that. On the right side, we created a question. Please pause. You can see here, we created a question just to put it into our system. System prompt is put it here, so it will be easier for AI to extract the information. And then you need to upload the source of the knowledge. So you need to create the knowledge sources that AI will use for retrieving the answers to that question. Okay, you can continue. Now he can select the files. We use the select document. You can upload more. You can pause, please. You can upload one, or you can upload many documents that could be used for retrieving the information. If you don't have a source, source can be, let's say, on some site. It could be on PubMed, or it could be on clinical trials. We directly call the PubMed and clinical trials endpoint, so it will retrieve information from there, or you can use a Google. In the example, we choose the Google as a knowledge source. We put the instruction. Before the Google integrated the AI, we developed this, so it searched the Google with the AI. Please pause. Now, okay, you can continue and then pause when the generating knowledge base is finished. So our AI will use all of those links. When we choose Google, we basically said that we are not using the Google in the background. We are searching the internet by ourselves, but using the instructions that the user put it on the screen, that dialog that popped up previously. So in this constellation, you can, of course, click and see, is it suits you, is it okay or not? If it's okay, you leave it. If it's not, you delete it. And then the remaining part before creating the knowledge base needs to be filtered. So all of those 10 links and that PDF that we uploaded it will be used as a knowledge base for retrieving the information on only that fifth question. We clicked on the create knowledge base. So now in the background, our AI is filled with all of those data. He done all the chunking. He extracted all the information that he could extract. And then on the next step, can you continue? There's a button, generate response. Now in the background, the AI is in that vector space searching the information that could be the answer here. And the answer with most percentage of overlapping is returned. Now you can see on those, this is the response from the AI, only on the fifth question. So you can check, is everything okay? And we have that, you can continue. You will see the pop-up small dialog that will show where the information came from. So it's easier for the final user, for researchers to see, okay, I don't need to read all of those sites. I don't need to read all of those PDFs. I know where to find it. And he can go there and to double check it if he wants. Okay, that is a feasibility model. We can continue. If everything's okay, he clicked on add to document, so the answer is filled under that question. Now he can, of course, if he created the feasibility study on for the Germany, for some other country is much easier because most of the regulatory regulations that European Union creates are the same, but has only some small differences. Okay, now we can continue on the other one, on the same one. same plugin, we have eligibility criteria. You can pause for a moment. On the left side, we put we took care of the information to not to put some names and so on, but usually this will be extracted from some system. So clinical researcher will already get that from that information from some system, and he will only upload that document. Okay, so this part, patient A, male, 42 years old, and everything about his disease is a starting information, like a starting point. Okay, you can continue. Now he needs to upload that to a system, create a question. He can update, he can change the information, and he needs to upload the eligibility protocol. So system will now see, does the information, can you please pause for a moment just to explain? For this specific patient, we merge both things. One is the information from the client, about the client, and the next part is that eligibility protocol that defines is he eligible or not. In some cases, this must be private stuff. And we compared it to some edge cases, and it was our domain expert said it was very good. He was very satisfied with the answer, because in some cases he doesn't know and he needs to return back and to read the protocol multiple times to see is it okay or not. We can continue. Okay, that's an answer from AI, and it says the conclusion: is it or is it not? If it's not eligible, then it will be an explanation why. Now we are switching to a data review or deviation, but data review tool, we call it like that. It's a Excel plugin. We have a deviation, stratification, and laboratory analysis. I will show you deviation and stratification for this presentation. So deviation is we will upload some information, or user can open some Excel file and just log in if he has access to this tool. Now you can pause for a moment just to explain. Aha, okay. I thought we. Okay. In this case, we need to compare. This is only a checker. It compares some document in the background, some protocol, and you can put it and let it go. So we will not stop it. On the right side, we need to validate severity and types. Those two are usually need for deviation. Checking, so while doing the study and the information is coming from the study, somebody is checking and said, okay, this type is, I don't know, some minor type or major type or whatever, and protocol will say, okay, it's not good. You need to check it again, and we will see. It's self-explanatory. We upload a PDF. That is a guidance. We can change, of course, that type and severity because it changes from protocol to protocol from time to time. Now AI is validating the answer or the severity and type, and he's putting into a red what is not correct, so researcher can double check those entries. Now stratification. This is for cancer research. You upload the example. This is it's called TNM research. So it simplifies and it's much faster than to watch line by line and compare to some protocol and read all of those pages. This is basically, is cancer, is there a tumor, is tumor spreaded around on other tissues? Did it infect the other organs, or is it a visceral, and so on? So we have a short time and not have time for lectures in clinical trials, but yeah, who is? Okay. I mean, it can be whatever. We are using, and we have a domain expert that is helping us to validate those use cases, but we only scratch the surface. So it can be, if it's a Word plugin, it's an Excel plugin. If you have some large amount of data, some large amount of information, and you need to extract and compare with some big knowledge base, it's an easy tool for. So it's easily can be adapted to some other use cases. Okay. And this basically can save lives to some person. If somebody is categorized somebody to some other grade of cancer, this can be very helpful. This tool is text reduction, where when some document needed to be published, there's a informative consent and IB or investigation brochure that need to be publicly available, but some sensitive information needs to be covered. So this tool is helping the user. Usually for this type of document, it takes a few days. Now it's an hour or maybe less. For the previous one, for example, feasibility study could take, for a country, usually takes 2 to 3 weeks. Now with this tool, it's lower to 1.5 days or something like that. So, and when you are better and better, it could be even faster. So this tool is comparing it to some protocol that we integrated inside, and it marks the information that needs to be reducted, not visible to a final reader. So you can add some additional names, or extrude some that you're sure that don't need to be there, and when you finish, you can just double check everything. If everything is okay, hide, mark secret, will put it into a black text, so you don't know what is behind. So it will reduce everything. Now basically that's it, I think. So Mladen can take the last word. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a lot more to do and to show, but I think that the most important things that you should remember, this is AI tool that is made to help you, and that it is concerning the security. Everything will be with you, so nothing will be leaked outside. This is most important thing, and that you can try it for free. And even the first one that applies for it, here is a contact form. So please take a picture, and the first person, we will reach out to everyone who leaves us his contact. And first one will get 1 month of free trying of this product after the signing the NDA paper, so they know that everything will be secure for them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mladen, and thank you, Petar, for the interesting presentation and AI tools that could help us. We all know how many times and what we are losing by reading different documents and how we can just upload them on the right place. And now, the last company, and my honor is to call Mr. Marko Grujic, CTO of the Neuroblast company, to share their details. So, Marko, please.
Thank you. I think this is working. Hello, everybody. At first, I would like you to watch our latest video because they told me we have about 10 minutes, so I will try to be as effective as I can. So, can you get the sound?
Face this challenge every
it's only
day.
2 minutes.
Yet, continuity in rehabilitation is one of the greatest struggles. Long clinic visits, high costs, and therapies that end once the patient leaves the clinic all result in lost progress and declining motivation. That's why we created Neuroblast, an award-winning, gamified rehabilitation ecosystem that brings the clinic to your home. Our innovative devices transform therapy into an engaging, interactive experience, turning essential physiotherapy into a journey patients can enjoy every single day. Through immersive games, Neuroblast makes daily rehabilitation enjoyable and effective, while real-time monitoring tracks every movement, angle, and pressure point, providing doctors and physiotherapists with accurate data remotely while patients recover in the comfort of home. Whether it's a child with cerebral palsy, an adult living with multiple sclerosis, or someone recovering from surgery or sports injuries, Neuroblast turns therapy into a journey of progress and hope. With consistent workouts, remote monitoring, and measurable results, we bring continuity back to rehabilitation, helping patients recover faster, safer, and with a smile. Recognized and awarded across Europe and the Middle East, supported by EIT Health, MBRIF, and the World Bank, featured by Forbes and Bloomberg, Neuroblast is redefining the future of home rehabilitation. Because every movement matters, every small victory counts, and every tomorrow can be stronger than today. Neuroblast, gaming for a stronger tomorrow.
So I'm Marko Grujic, I'm CTO of Neuroblast. And yes, we started a few years ago out of pure need. I'm hardware software engineer and I never dealt in medtech before. We had other company that made the largest IoT network in this part of Europe and in totally different industry. However, when my wife got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, we had to do something. She stopped one day, she woke up, she couldn't get out of the bed. So we searched for several neurorehabilitation clinics and we found one of the best here in Serbia and also in Croatia. And it went well. She went there for 2 months and it was, okay, it is expensive, but it was effective. But when she came back home, her condition started to deteriorate again. So it was getting worse and worse and getting back on the same level as it was. So she asked me, because we had the resources, we had the other company, we had a production in Shenzhen, so she asked me, Marko, can you make me something that I can use while I'm at home? You know, we can go to the clinic, we can see what are they doing, and let's see what can we get to our home. So I went with her, we saw what we can, let's say, adjust to be used at home, and we made several prototypes. And she was trying them out, and she was like, "Whoa, this is better than in the clinic." So we went to the clinic and asked them, would you be interested in something like this for us to, do the first clinical trials and all that, and to, let's say, to examine is it working? They're like, yeah, sure, because they know Neuroblast was never intended to be a competition for the clinics. It was intended to cooperate with the clinics. So our intention is for you always to go to the clinic. I mean, no matter what, but you can go there only for a month or two. But next 10 months, you need to have something to work out at home. So my wife, she's our CEO. So my wife then met a lot of people with cerebral palsy. She was in the clinics for months and all that. So we got first few grants and we made first prototype. After that, we made more and more grants, and we made really now really nice company. So we managed to win on several competitions, like for most innovative startup in Emirates this year. Also, we presented the Neuroblast on neuroscience on the JFK Neuroscience Institute in New York. After that, we started working on AI because they told us, well, this is great, but we have about 3,000 patients per month, so you need to put some AI in there to localize for all of them. You need the machine to talk to them and all that. So we are working on that right now. But after all, we finished and we got Neuroblast ready for sale. So we are going to the market in 1 month. I mean, we are already in the market. We started pre-orders. So we are working on that, and we finished the certifications. We got class 1 CMDR. So now, unfortunately, our market is getting bigger and bigger every year. There is really grim trends, especially with children with cerebral palsy. And just from 2013 to 2023, the number of diagnoses for multiple sclerosis is risen 25%. So for only 10 years, from 2013 to 2023, there is 25% more multiple sclerosis diagnosis, especially with young women. So we are working everything we can to make Neuroblast more affordable for all the people, because Neuroblast right now is at least 15 times costs 15 times less than the, let's say, clinical pandan that they are buying on the clinics. So to use it in exactly the same way. So also we have much better video games, and our next steps would be to make something like some kind of exoskeleton, especially for the lower limbs. Now we have the means, and we have the cooperation from several clinics. So we already agreed with them upon some joint forces, and they will work with us to make it as best as we can. And the most important thing right now for Neuroblast is that Neuroblast is currently on 4 clinics in the region, 3 in Serbia and 1 in Croatia. So we are traveling constantly to those clinics, and we are interviewing the patients, and we have a great feedback, especially from children. And now in 1 clinic, we know that they are because those kids cannot work only with Neuroblast, but they need to do some, let's say, how they call it, some boring exercises before that. But now they are promised them, okay, if you work this or if you have this therapy, then you will have 2 hours of Neuroblast. And the kids are like, yeah, okay, I will go through it. So there is something that the clinicians, they know it, but that most of us always forget. So they often ask us, is it measurable? How will we know that the Neuroblast helps us? So especially if we have neurodegenerative disease, it will get worse day by day. There is a really slim chance that it will stay the same, and probably a really good chance that it will get worse and worse. So, however, if you don't do this therapy, and if you don't work out, it will get worse even faster. That's the main. Now with modern medicine, we, especially me and my wife, we are hope with, especially with mRNA vaccines, that there is a great breakthrough in this kind of in the medicine, because until 10 years ago, everybody thought, okay, neurons cannot regrow, they cannot renew, but now they know they can. Also, they thought myelin cannot renew. Now they know it can, because there are studies that show them in recent those data in recent 2 years. So we have hope that it will happen as soon as it can, but until then, all the people with neurodegenerative diseases, and after that, will have to work out, will have to do daily therapies, they will need to take the medicine that will allow them to remove spasms and do the daily routines and daily workouts. So, but all of them forget, like this little girl in the video, she really has cerebral palsy, and she was playing the game, and her mother was like, because father asked, is it going to be, better if she's working out a lot, because we gave them one neuroblast, and mom said, well, I don't care if she's going to get so much better in physical terms, but she's laughing, and she didn't laugh for 6 months. So we must not forget that kind of aspect of rehabilitation. For kids especially, it has to be a little bit fun, because if it's not fun, they will not do it, and it's not effective. So it's not only about physical, it's also about emotional state of the patients. Is the patient willing to do the rehabilitation? So that is what Neuroblast is all about. We are doing our best to bring something that we can from the clinic to home, and to make the patients, let's say, want to do rehabilitation. So that's it. I think I was, if there is some questions. Also, there is a Neuroblast devices. This is Motus. This device can track all your movements, with hand, with leg, especially the patients with multiple sclerosis. One of the first things, if they hit, it's the drop foot. So you need to work out your foot every time. My wife, an example, she does it every time she's flying the plane or everything, because she needs to work out the limb. One big thing that we did, we didn't only make the hardware products, we also made a complete app store, and we have our own customized tablet. So in this store, as you saw in the video, you can calibrate everything you want about the devices, what do you want them to do, and how to track. Also, there is always new video games, and there is new workouts, and of course the educational part. How should you use it, and why it's good for you. And so we made a complete ecosystem that will only grow from February. So we are getting pre-orders, and we will start shipping first Neuroblast from the 1st January. So that's it. Oh, if there is some question.
Thank you, Marco, for this inspiring presentation. It was a great honor to have you here. So I really hope that our private stories and everything what we can learn will push us more behind the borders, and that we will have new devices, new technologies based on AI, and that this software as a medical device could help us in our life and everyday work. So for now, I would like only to tell you one more thing. What we just heard is that Mrs. Daisy Dimza-Jones will not come currently to our session because she had the flight delay. But you can hear her today after the 4 p.m. She will be here at the same room at 4:05 p.m. today. So if you are interested to hear her, just come here. Now I would like you to ask and to come to talk with our startups. They will be here until 1:50 p.m. So you can test the solutions and ask them whatever you have. Thank you once again for being here.
Vladimir is here, we can start.
Hello, everyone. Having a panel after lunch is always especially difficult, and having this corner room is for guys who tend to have very unconventional panels. And hopefully it's not going to be a sleepy panel, but get you a little bit more energized about entrepreneurship, investments, and biotech as well. So my name is Nenad, I'll be moderator. If I do a good job, I will lay back and just enjoy the discussion of those fine people next to me. And hopefully we'll have a very good discussion. We are having a quite diverse panel here from people from Boston, Toronto, Munich, Zurich, so different countries, different continents, different angles. We are having a couple of startup founders, a couple of investors, private investor, and also we'll have institutional investor. We're expecting him to fly in a drone at some point here. He's on his way from the airport. We'll see how spectacular this entrance will be, but we have high hopes for that. So to start, I'll basically start with the questions that I'm interested in, and then hopefully you'll be interested as well. And then if we have some time, we'll try to also open up maybe for some of your questions at the end. But let's start with Milenko. You're closest to my heart, physically currently. So
literally.
And so you had a very interesting journey. You went from corporate to investor to startup founder. Typically, people dream of becoming an investors, but you've been an investor and then said, "No, I want to run a company." So how are those things different, and how are similar, and what are the insights from the full circle?
Yeah, I still wear a little bit of two hats. So to be absolutely for transparency, so I'm a CEO and co-founder of Tasker Therapeutics, which is an oncology company that is a spin-out from Harvard Medical School. But I also wear venture partner hat from Cure Ventures, which is a venture firm from Boston that raised about $400 million in order just to build the companies from scratch, meaning take the technology from the academia, run it and develop it to the inflection point, meaning get some key data in order to raise more money, in order to push the molecule or platform technology into the clinical development. So the difference is it's kind of in mentality, and depends who you talk to. You can argue that I went to the dark side. I'm a PhD trained scientist, spent over 20-something years in drug discovery in big biotech and pharma companies like AstraZeneca, Merck, Ipsen, etc. So the key difference is that as an entrepreneur, you need to be a problem solver. Simple as that. And every day you kind of go to your office, to your team, and you need to fix something. And I think if you look from the other side of investor really looking to invest in a team. And the key here is some of the statistics that nearly 70% of the companies that are currently seeded in Boston area, which is a biotech hub of the world, will pivot towards something else during their lifetime. Now that something else could be 30 degrees shift, could be 180 degrees shift, could be 20 degrees shift, it depends. But the data probably is very likely not to be repeated because nearly 70% of academic data cannot be repeated. So I'm deliberately trying to be controversial here because I think that's the reality that investors face. And because of that, investors are behaving in a more aggressive manner that experiments need to be repeated before the significant amount of money is invested. So the mindset, and I'll stop at that, mindset is very simple. One is a very much problem solver, enthusiastic about the company. The other one is very much the inflection point driven. Now we have a Praveen. We can start because Praveen just, we delayed the conference for you, Praveen. So hope is worth it. No. And so I think overall, you have two different mindsets. Mindset of someone who is totally committed to the company, committed to cause and technology versus someone who potentially looking for exit strategy. So that's the big difference.
Thank you very much. So Praveen, we were just chatting a bit among friends before you came in. We were expecting actually you to fly in with the drone. This is what we announced to people. So, but this is good enough. This is great. Thank you for coming. Thanks for being here. His flight was delayed multiple times, so we were losing hope, but then everything is good at the end. So Milenko, you've opened a couple of topics about multiple hats. We have a lady here also with multiple hats, and we're not going to go, one by one, so typically, but talk to you. Also, your company is working with Tasca Therapeutics, and also we are here, you mentioned data and creating data, and this panel is also about data, so we need to talk about AI a little bit. So tell us, please, how AI and data, please maybe a sentence or two about yourself, and how data and AI is changing drug discovery, research, drug development, cooperation with maybe companies like Tasca Therapeutics, and also work with investors.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. And yeah, so I have multiple hats like Milenko, working for Proteus Biostructures, Munich-based company that is actually also co-founded by Professor Huber that was giving talk today. And it's everything about early drug discovery, how targets are druggable, so a lot of data. So service provider working with more than 250 companies at the moment, so all kind of big pharma, mid-sized biotechs. So insights in many data that we get from clients, and yeah, AI is playing a pivotal role there. So companies now investing into this field and sees as a very important point, because we collect and we have a lot of, for instance, protein data, structural data. So Milenko's company is a client. And if you can streamline these data, if you can structure them better, have a good setup from very beginning, that has a lot of impact. Because if you store data and you don't know to use them, that can be also a waste of time. Or maybe you don't use your resources, so you're reducing time, you're having a better impact on the experiments that are done in laboratories. So from that perspective, and also like you're mentioning that I have multiple hats, so I also co-founded AI company called Data Catalysis, also based in Munich, and it's 100% focused on providing services in machine learning and data cleaning for biologics and proteins, so pipeline development, AI agents. So this is also another perspective. We also look into collaboration, although I sit in both companies that we work together. So it's really interesting time. So the company that I previously worked for was doing formulation development, and everything was about biostatistics and bioinformatics, and then really helped a lot with reducing timelines and organizing experiments, and also the full development, right, from very beginning. And then we apply that now to help companies to be faster. So multiple perspectives, but just high level maybe for audience to understand.
Thank you. Nima, you're leading medtech efforts in venture labs in Toronto, Canada ecosystem. So this is again not therapeutics, but interesting combination of data, AI, engineering, hardware, and medicine all in one. So what trends are you seeing recently, and how is AI changing medtech?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for having me today. It's a pleasure to sit here. Maybe I'll take a moment to go back to mention three major gifts that Canadian life science innovation ecosystem has given to the global community. So starting from 1920, we had a discovery of insulin. 1960, massive and pioneer work on stem cells engineering, and then around COVID, we had the lipid nanoparticle that was the foundation for mRNA vaccine for COVID. So basically on these, pillars, Canada has spent a lot of, infrastructure and massive capital on life sciences and medtech over the past couple of years, building on these areas. what we do in the innovation ecosystem, we are very connected to the hospital network, investors, manufacturing, and partners from academia, private sector, and public sector at Venture Lab. And we are leading the innovation ecosystem by supporting medtech and life science entrepreneurs, not only by providing consultation and advisory, but also by providing infrastructures for labs so that they can come to the hardware lab, medtech lab, and vet lab to basically do validation and testing of that prototype. We are trying to help them to accelerate the commercialization when it comes to medtech and life sciences. And I think that's pretty much unique in the Canadian ecosystem because we are supported by the government of Canada. So the entrepreneurs in Canada, they are getting a lot of resources by non-dilutive funds, which is unique in terms of that they can do a lot of collaboration with academics and R&D before getting to sitting in front of investors, trying to basically minimize the risk for investors to show those kind of validation and working prototype to basically bring more appetite for investors to invest on those kind of technologies. So that's sort of like I would say, overall presentation of where Canada is standing in terms of medtech and life science innovation.
Thank you. Now we're going to switch to the real investors. So, Valerie, you're now a private investor from Switzerland, but at some point you were and still are probably, you're always an entrepreneur. Valerie had a company with 100,000 people working for him at some moment, but now he's investing in startups. He recently invested in 2 prominent Swiss startups, one in IT and the other one in life science. So when you invest, what do you look in? What data are you looking? What are your criteria? How do you distinguish those that are worth investing versus those that are not?
Thank you for invitation. It's my pleasure and honor to be here. To be very quick, okay. First of all, it should be a very disruptive space. And today we have at least 5 main disruptive area for investments. It's artificial intelligence, it's robotic system, it's omics, just thickness analysis, if you call like this, genomics, okay, and a couple of other, okay. I start to invest in artificial intelligence maybe 2 years ago. Applied my all life experience to be in private equity business, but mainly it was in aviation space, okay. And now we invest in company, for example, Squiro, which generative AI platform with the knowledge management graph composition, which provide value proposition to the customers, okay. And data management, I never been in data management in my life, never. And it was really good opportunity for me to learn and to understand how it works. And from this data management base, I jumped to biotech and put money now to company Swiss Rockets. I will give you just one example how I just go through the process of valuation of companies Swiss Rockets. Okay, Swiss Rockets is startup with maybe 5 or 6 daughter companies which develop products, different type of products, and manufacturing and service facilities across ecosystem they have today. It's accelerator for startups. I love this idea. For me, it's quite a disruptive approach, how you deal with the venture capital people, how you attract them. But always when you, just people saying it's $1 billion valuation, wow, it's what your revenue? 0, okay, definitely, because it's always development. How to deal with this stuff? I give you mindset, how I just approach it. I ask to give me cap table, who is on cap table of this investment. And I did realize maybe 5 or 7 very prominent names from the biotech industry with the huge legacy and experience in space. And it was benchmark for me. I asked to have contact and talk with him. I spent maybe 2 or 3 days in conversation with different investors and came to the conclusion, yes, they understand what people doing in this space. Secondly, when talking 1 billion valuation based mostly on prediction, okay, of financial models which could come to in the future, in the reality or can't, okay? In this case, I asked to explain what really tangible investments they're doing today which can, let's say, approve this valuation. And one of the biggest trigger which attracted my attention, it was Swiss Rocket memorandum of understanding. They would like to acquire biggest genomic company, complete genomic in the US, from current Chinese investors, okay? It's already revenue just company, okay, around 100 million today. It's about 40 after this mess with the Trump, with the Chinese guys. But it gives me understanding that it definitely can provide some cash flow to support the accelerator programs with the company, okay? And the value of the deal give me understanding that we can increase it dramatically in maybe 1 year, 2-3x, and it definitely can support this valuation at least, okay? And the third one, it was, as you mentioned, team. I spent maybe 3 or 4 days internally with the leader of the company, Vladimir, and his executive team, and my impression was really why I love the team. I always saying, you should be ready for changes, okay? You should be ready to change yourself first as a company. And the biggest challenge for startups when you're going from lab to corporation, for production, how you manage this change. Because to my experience, mostly of the founders would like to control everything, okay? And how you can just give up this control. And in this case, you should have the very special DNA, cultural DNA internally. I call it, you be ready to give up, okay? What you would like to control. You never can control everything. And this type of DNA I just revealed with the team. And the vision, the second vision of the team. I like when we're talking about great stuff to treat cancer and make this mission really executed in near future, not in 100 years ago from today. And 3 elements or 2 elements when we're talking about planning everything, I came to conclusions it's the right team, okay? And finally I make my decision to invest. It's above all the D which I did with the investment banking people or whatever, but it was very straightforward exercise I did to make my investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is really straight to the point and very specific answer, and I really appreciate it. So Praveen, thanks again for coming. And I also have an easy question for you. So most of the people kind of dream of having 1 billion exit with their startups if you're an entrepreneur, and you have at least 2 of them. So it's by no means a coincidence if you repeat it. Which means you know something the rest of us don't know. So the question is, what's that you know that we don't know, and what have you learned along the way during those at least 2 journeys of building and exiting the companies for multi-billion-dollar valuations?
Can you hear me? Okay. So let me just describe the companies first of all. They were all drug development and discovery companies. One was Cubist Pharmaceuticals, which was sold to Merck for $10 billion. And then the second one was Morphic Therapeutic, which was sold to Eli Lilly last year for $3.2 billion. And then SiteOne this year for $1 billion to Eli Lilly as well. And I think, you know, the one thing I will say here, because I think it'll be a little bit provocative and interesting, is that, you know, we're talking all about the data, right? And I think the interesting thing I always kind of say is that although we always talk about the data and the data is important, it's usually not about the data. It's usually because if you think about any time period in drug discovery and development, there is no place in that continuum where you can't ask for more data. Even drugs that are on the market commercially, often you don't know, everything that you'd like to know. Cubicin, which was the flagship antibiotic from Cubist Pharmaceuticals, at peak sales it was $1.2 billion. 20 years later, we still didn't fully understand the mechanism. And so there's always questions that can be asked. And so when you're talking about exits, you're talking about you're talking about the data, of course. The data is important, but there's a whole bit of other aspects to it that are really important when you're talking about it. So how you tell the story, what the team is, how did you get here, what your syndicate looks like, the processes you used to get the drug to this point. There are just numerous other parts of it that people tend to forget and don't spend nearly as much time on as the data. And I think it's, for all of us, it is actually pretty hard in the sense that, we're all very scientifically driven, we're very specific data driven, and so it's hard for us to get out of our comfort zone and being able to tell the story of how big this could be, how much of an impact it can have, how we got here. And those aspects, at least I found in all 3 acquisitions, are just as important as the data. In most of all those situations, there was a competitor who had similar type data, and they always chose us. And I think that's because of all these other aspects, not just the data.
Thank you. So tell the story is equally important as the data, I would say. Milenko, you are very successful in raising funds. If you like, you can share how much you raised or not, depends on you, but what's your secret to success? And I have another question. At least in IT, if startups want to get another 0 at their valuation, they just mention AI somewhere in the presentation. Correct. So are you also AI-based biotech, drug development, AI-based startup?
We're using a little bit of AI, but again, Tasca has this unique sort of technology which interrogates in a drug in that specific lipid pocket. The technology was developed, by this Harvard professor, which probably science is at 7 or 8 years old, which in biology is literally nothing. So, and we're still kind of figuring this out. But the interesting thing is we're applying AI to do this large-scale molecular docking to that specific pocket, docking the libraries of enamine of 6 billion molecules without dimming the lights in Pennsylvania, basically, because as you know, that's required lots of computing power. So that's as far as we go with the AI, is really the specific molecular docking and generating quick chemical methods in order to speed the process up. Regarding the fundraising, it's been absolutely abysmal 3 years, maybe even 4. If you think about the biotech sector during the pandemic was a darling of the world. It's, no one thought that there's going to be the war, wars going on around. Everyone thought that little bug will, destroy us and send us to kind of live in a total isolation. So what people did is claim it healthcare problems, healthcare solutions. So general investors came into the market and flooded the market with the money. The huge valuation of the biotech companies, size of, the ones I'm leading, suddenly have this phenomenal pre-money valuation, meaning that before the real investors come around the table, that co-founders or maybe co-founding VC firm asking for this phenomenal money upfront. And then suddenly that company doesn't deliver, start getting into the trouble, burning a lots of cash during the monthly per month. I can tell you that some data, company of 35 to 40 people in Boston area, burning probably between $2.5 to $3 million a month. So it's that the sums are big, but the cost of running the gig is huge. So the one thing I would say to entrepreneurs and people who are going to raise the money, be resilient. That's the only thing. Tell the story, as Praveen said, and for the full disclosure, Praveen is a chairman of the board of Tasca, so him and I go a long way. But be resilient and be ready like a boxer. Every time you get knocked down in a ring because one of the investors told you, no, I'm not going to invest, you dust yourself off and go again. And you find the right people that will invest. Once you tell that story, and really telling stories is extremely, extremely important. VCs invest in 2 things. They call it bet on a jockey, meaning the management team, and bet on a horse. Horse means technology. So Which one is important? It depends on the VC, it depends on the management, it depends on the whole other environment. But that's what the VC is looking. Can that team deliver? And remember what I said earlier, nearly 70% of the company in Boston area will pivot towards something else. Only top-line management can recognize that door, walk through that door, and being able to pivot towards that new door that is opening. I think that's the key, and that's why they're investing in people. And that's why people who had a previous exits, like Praveen, potentially can recognize those signs way before maybe some of us who didn't have those exits. Is that fair?
Full disclosure, everyone knows everyone in this small biotech world. So Nima also has a startup that at some point pitched as Milenko in some point in history, but please tell us a bit more about your experience with venture capital investors and how does that look from your view in Canada. And also interesting thing is that you did not pitch only to VCs in Canada, but also in Boston.
Yeah, so we've been working on a technology over the past 8 years on providing a new class of biomaterials to reduce the pain for people that are suffering from osteoarthritis in knee joint. It's a class 3 medical device, and from FDA perspective, and as soon as you hear about class 3, a lot of challenges gonna be around you, and you need to be resilient and patient enough to meet those milestones in order to address the concerns that you will get from the investment perspective. So it's a pretty tough journey to go there. What I have seen as a sort of trend in those medical devices, as long as there is some sort of problem, either from the human or the animal side of the market, I've seen that a lot of entrepreneurs, they are trying to pivot toward, for example, animal market to get some sort of traction and validation of technology. And I insist on validation because last week I was at the Health Conference 2025 in Vegas, and 95% of the panels and discussion was about the AI. And after panel, when you go for a coffee chat or grab a beer, everyone was just trying to criticize that why are we talking about AI? Why we are not focusing on that much governance and validation of data? And I think it's pretty important for us as an entrepreneur in medtech to pause and go and listen to clinicians and to learn from them to see what feedback they're going to have for us in order to implement those kind of feedback into your design and development journey to make sure that you are trying to, again, mitigate or the risk for the investment to accelerate your commercialization journey on that note.
Really good question. Why are we talking about AI, actually? So, Praveen, why are we talking about AI?
Well, again, just to be a little bit skeptical, I think at least in drug discovery and development, you can parse out AI into discovery and development. And I think in the I'd love to hear other people's view on it, but I've been quite skeptical of AI in discovery specifically. And the reason is, I mean, way back when I was an engineer, and so I always say, look, AI is not magic. Like if you have enough data and you're looking for patterns, you're going to get it with AI, right? That's all it is. So you have enough data, and are you looking for patterns? And in the discovery area, virtually every startup is a data creating entity. That's what it's about in a specific area, creating data, right? And so typically, that area does not have enough data to begin with in order to utilize the AI. So I think in the discovery area is one where I've been a little bit skeptical in the near term about what AI can do. But in development, of course, there's so many areas where AI, is going to be and is useful, right? And I mean, it's amazing some of the reports that AI can write, like instantly. It would take a month for a team to write a CMC summary for regulatory, for example, and you can do it live now, and protocols and in recruitment and so many other areas, and even how we, interdisciplinary teams and how they operate and things like that. So I find the opportunities in AI in drug discovery and development much more on the development side. I think I feel it'll be a little while yet before AI is really prime time in the discovery area.
Thank you. I'll leave Tanya to the end because you're living AI every day. But before that, I'd also like to ask Valerie, you mentioned AI as the first, if I'm correct, of the disruptive areas of technology. What do you see in AI?
Currently, it's a lot of claims that people doing. I completely agree. It's hype, okay? People talking about that they already deliver something, roll out. But honestly saying, the data saying, for us, last year, it's only 5% successful pilots happen in enterprise space. And this 25 maybe will have 10%. It's very incremental growth of implementation. Why? Because most of enterprise is not ready to implement it. And a lot of tools which we have on the marketplace, it's on very initial stage of implementation, no proof of let's say, efficiency, or on the research and development stage. The same mainly in pharma, okay? And it's the biggest challenge I see because people saying we can do it, we can deliver, and nothing happened. We invest in Squiro, and I will tell you a couple of just examples because our clients is the biggest central bank in Europe, European Central Bank, Bank of England, and we're dealing with the billions of data, okay? And it's scalability, which our objectives with in terms of our value proposition to customers. Secondly, it's privacy, precision, and let's say access and enabling. Because we have 10,000 users, for example, with the European Bank, and maybe around 50 different groups which have different kinds of access, okay? And you know that every week we have a completely update of the data they're using, okay? Okay, mainly it's compliance space, risk management space, which European Central Bank doing like a regulator, okay? But to apply it to as a platform, we have platform in which we combine the semantic search engine plus knowledge graphs. Because semantic search is mostly probabilistic stuff, as OpenAI, what LLM, blah blah. But when talking about graphs, it's deterministic stuff. Okay, we put it together, and we have the error only couple of percent. It's actually 96, 97% precision, which we're doing with the Standard Bank, Chatterbank on other use cases. But what's the main interesting story in AI? We're talking about data, okay? After we go to information, after you go to the knowledge, and only afterwards you go to the action. And all this value chain should be presented in any kind of your assessment if you would like to deal with the vendors in this space. And the action is actually agentic flows, which we're doing today with the Vodafone, for example, as the use cases, and other companies, and in manufacturing space. Be very careful when you try to just pick up the right vendor. It's a lot of claims, but it's not easy to deliver.
I just wish out that AI investors put the money in a biotech, because lots of money at the moment going into AI. Maybe shifting some money in the biotech could help life sciences. So I think that would be my wish.
Very good. Tanya, you have a nice opportunity to agree or disagree with everything that was said about AI. We definitely need more AI hope in this panel, I would say. And also you're the provider. So what's your take on role of AI?
Coming back to Pravin's point on early drug discovery and being skeptical, I mean, Proteus is everything wet lab, right? So it's implementation partially, just in small bits. Regarding AI. So give you example, for instance, training models on structural biology. So you have structure of proteins, so you want to train multiple models in order to predict better. So that's one thing. So you have a lot of data. You can use that data, right? It's really helpful. It cannot replace wet lab experiments. So that's for sure. I mean, you have to do everything. You have, for instance, screening these virtual libraries. You have to confirm it really from in silico in that lab. So everything is just maybe simulation, maybe getting directions, but not really replacing everything with AI. AI is helper there, but it's also game changer, right? If you have a small help that can bypass so many things, it's really helping a lot. There is, I don't know if you're like up to date with Eli Lilly invested into together with company that in 1 billion to set up the system that small startups, they can test their pipeline to see at the beginning if it's working or not. And I think it's Tune Labs or something like that. So the AI company. So then small companies, without disclosing their pipeline, come to Eli Lilly, and then they show, then they screen and can see if they should fail at the beginning or not. So these kind of things are really helping without disclosing proprietary information. So they are getting data in return, and small startups are getting valuable information if it's worth going that path or not. So I think it's more getting advantage of it than really replacing it. And of course, nothing can be replaced, really. You have to do it in reality. But I don't know, you also asked something else, or can you remind me? It was anything that I didn't answer.
Well, if you agree or disagree with everything else that was said here.
Yeah, I mean, venture capital is coming back to that, like Proteus is service provider, and we work also with a number of venture capital companies, having multiple portfolio companies, like having 15, 20. So for them is, of course, important to de-risk their pipeline. So they come to us and they see if it's worth of going or not going. So if you have full de-risking at the beginning and small helper, with AI, of course, it's helpful. I mean, it's not everything about AI, but you have to have a good approach and, yeah, to apply that.
Thank you. Praveen, you're also a partner in a big and very successful venture capital fund. And since VC is part of the name of this panel as well, I want to ask you, first one question is, how is venture capital industry leveraging AI in their work, actually?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kind of pilot initiatives going on, right? So in Atlas Venture, there's a model of incubating these companies, and they're very good at killing programs very quickly too. So they, get a pilot project going, give them $2-3 million. If they don't achieve X and Y within 6-8 months, kill it, and so really putting the money where things are showing momentum and really killing early the things that aren't showing momentum. So from that perspective, there are quite a few AI-type ventures going on, and they have various types of AI tools and ventures and putting a system together. But I think what we're seeing, at least as of today still, is that at least in drug discovery, AI is part of the solution, right? It's one tool of a much broader drug discovery team. Because we've seen that over the last several decades in different technologies, high throughput screening, microscope, various different technologies that everyone considers that the solution, but we end up finding that that's part of the solution. That's a tool that, if it's used in the right way with the right people, it can be very, very effective. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now in AI. That figuring out kind of where to apply it, what are the right inputs, what are the right outputs, and where it could be useful to a drug discovery team. That's the experimentation that's going on so far. At least as of Atlas Ventures. They have not invested in a full-scale AI company as of today, but always looking.
Milenko, you raised, please.
No, I was just going to make one comment. There's quite a few. It depends what you're calling it AI. Aiding drug discovery by enabling company to move projects from early stage to closer to the clinic by reducing the design, make, test cycle. It's really not AI, but what it does use quantum computing and a bunch of physics that underpin all of these algorithms in order to kind of help you push that sort of, make molecules that potentially more likely that they're going to work in a those assay or in vivo. But they are, the key for me will be whether this machine learning helping us, if you have a drug discovery project that made 150 molecules in order to generate development candidate. Because at the moment, industry making about, you do the hit to lead, about you do some high throughput screen, then after that high throughput screen, you go into the lead op phase, lead optimization phase, it takes you about 1,200 molecules, give or take. Because you have a multiple series, you have to optimize them, and I'm not talking about antibodies, I'm talking about the specifically, because Grmuša looking at me, and that, you know, I'm talking about small molecules here specifically, and these molecules are then, you know, really each molecule costs you X amount of money, whether you make it in China or somewhere else. You have to test it in a 3 to 4 minimal assay, and that costs lots of money. Now, if you can reduce that to something more manageable, 100 molecules, like we do for antibodies or even less, then I think I'll believe that this AI is useful. I try AI with AstraZeneca when I was, and try with Merck, never really worked for me. But recently, the technology has gone much better, and the company that we're now utilizing gave us a hits and cell active molecule within 12 weeks. I have to admit that, you know, now start sort of to believing more in it. Now I have a real data to support that, and that's how, you know, for me, that's where the proof, is in the pudding and is in eating.
I mean, from that perspective, actually, Morphic Therapeutic would be considered a success story, both in what Tanya said, because Morpho57, which is the molecule that Lilly bought for $3.2 billion, that was created with computational tools. I mean, we thought of it more physics-based than AI per se, but and what it really did, in retrospect, is it really kept the chemists away from the things that won't work, right? And then so saving all that time of the things that won't work, and that ultimately is what resulted in Morpho57. So in a way, Morphic is a AI success story.
And I also have another question, and maybe it's a final. We are approaching our final. Oh, we have some more time. Very good. Than I expected. I'm happy now. So the question is AI going to accelerate clinical trials and the process of approval drug from the moment when you, for instance, prove it in first patients until it's widely available to population and to more patients? It sometimes takes a decade or more, and it's a pity that patients are suffering and the drug is kind of existing. So what's the role in AI in development process and clinical trials? Who'd like to take it?
So I mean, I think we're in the experimental mode right now, but that's an obvious place for lots of AI tools, right? Because we are looking in the new company, Caldera Therapeutics, for which sites are the best for patients, which ones are most likely to get the enrollment criteria that we're looking for, who's been productive, where to put resources. For all those kind of things, AI is very, very useful. And hopefully in the years to come, I could say that's been a success because we're right in the kind of the early pilot phases of it. But I don't see why it wouldn't be very useful in those areas.
If you think operationally, yes. But in terms of problem solving scientifically in a clinical settings, I think it's going to be more and more challenging to do that in a clinical setting, scientific. Because you might find lots of correlative data, but how do we make that leap from correlative data set, which is more data, you just kind of have a larger data set, to something that potentially can help us with causality? It's going to be really, really hard to do that by, some kind of machine tools. I think we still have to have this apply some manual curation at some point, and then maybe teach the algorithm to do that. Now, it's just all about that cycle, and it depends how long it takes to complete a couple of those cycles in order to make these machines better.
Do you have any take?
Maybe interesting are AI companies that are completely virtual, so drug discovery space, and then they are testing everything virtual, then they come to us, for instance, to tell us in Lab. That's really super high-tech, and that's really like they are doing AI. They are synthesizing ligands, everything virtually, medicinal chemistry, and then they build big partnerships with big pharma companies to do clinical trials. So I think that's already living there, right? So I think it's important for scientists to take care of their data as their IP. For companies, at the beginning, someone mentioned also you don't have data, right? But you have to have a right setup to gather that data and collect it down the road. And for investors to look into companies that have right setup and also like right data. So I think the combination of both, that is application of kind of AI or maybe some machine learning, some small assets. So that would be, I think, next to look into.
Very quickly, we have objectives in partnership with the Swiss Rockets to set up the digital twin of couple of very prominent scientists with the company, which we would like to use the knowledge graphs. And afterwards, I think it will be platform to go ahead to the, let's say, mindset process on RD side, okay? But it's very, for us, I agree, it's a very complex story. We make this initiative with them, okay? We'll see what happens in 12 months from today, but it's a long, long way ahead of us to deliver something.
Praveen, maybe you can, I'm going to ask you a question, yeah? How would you pitch, maybe that's going to be useful for audience, if you have an AI company and you are in a life science and you drug discovery, how would you pitch that company to investor in order to be palatable? What are the trigger points for the investors that think you might be able to sort of win them over, at least to give you time to listen to the story?
Yeah, I think I think it depends on which investors that you're pitching to, right? Are you in pitching to kind of the Silicon Valley investors or the more mainstream biotech investors? But I think the biotech investors, especially the ones that have been around a long time, do see the promise in AI, but they see it as one part of the whole solution. And so you can't forget it's the team, you know, the targets, the financing, and then the AI is part of that toolkit that people use to potentially move faster. Because we estimated that, you know, with us, again, it was, I don't know if they are calling it AI now, but it was more, we thought of it more as physics-based at the time. And we estimated that it was a 20 to 30% improvement in speed, right? And so, you know, we weren't saying that AI is going to be, you know, 300% more, right? But as one part of an entire toolkit for drug discovery, I think that's the one that resonates with serious biotech investors.
Milenko raised earlier a topic that I really want all of you to take on, whoever wants. Why is not more money flowing into biotech, especially compared to AI? Please start.
Well, I'll do it last.
Yeah, you're the last. Yeah. Valerie, what's your take? Why are not more people investing in biotech?
These days.
Especially these days. And also compared to AI.
Yeah. I would like to just elaborate a little bit on the previous one very quickly, because the most important when we pitching our customers, we should completely focus on the value proposition for customers. They don't care what's in this box, what kind of LLM, what kind of the orchestration layer, how we're dealing with the knowledge management graph. They don't care. They need value proposition. If you can deliver X, just efficiency, X, not 2 times, X. For example, we're talking about 5, 7, 10X, okay, on the workflow process. It should be very, very key point when you deliver your message. The secondary, why it's different between AI and pharma stuff, because it's not easy to articulate this proposition, value proposition, when you're talking about the RD stage, whatever. It's so far away from the final destination. In this case, it's the main differentiator, why people more exciting to put money now in the AI than in pharma, okay? I mean, on VC side, private side, it's hype. But we come into the just winter.
I'd say that real quickly, just to build on that, real quickly, we've never seen revenue ramps like we've seen in AI companies ever. Like, you know, if you think about normal software, you know, the first year, 20 million, then the second year, maybe 30 million, that goes to 60 million, then 100 million. AI companies have gone from 2 million to 200 million in like a year or two, right? And so I think that's kind of the promise, and that's where I think everyone's wondering where that's going.
That's that bubble that everyone's talking that's going to burst, that suddenly you have in Silicon Valley, you have AI companies that the pre-money valuation $500 million. It's a company of 10 people, 15 people, and a $500 million pre-money valuation. It's just obscene.
This clock is broken, obviously, because it says we are out of time. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. They'll kill us.
Thank you.